We're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
I'm George.
I'm Rex.
And this is Small Talk. We're continuing a look at Hebrews 4, 14 through 16, because this is so very just packed full of deep stuff. Let me reread it for us.
Sure, that'd be
so
great.
we can start the conversation where we left off. Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has ascended into heaven, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence, so that we may find and receive mercy and grace to help us in time of need. So, again, we talked about it last week, how much is here. And, one thing we were talking about last week was the fact that he followed the commandment of God, did what God wanted, and because of that, something happens to us.
Yeah, I mean, because he did that, we're able to approach him in confidence.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I love that word, confidence, and I want, I feel like I'm on the right track. But when you read that verse, with confidence, why do you think we have confidence? I mean, we're going into the throne room of God. Why should you or I have confidence?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple reasons, probably more, but a couple of the main ones may be that first, that we have the invitation to be able to go in there. We have He's given us the right.
Right. Yeah, just the singularity of the invitation. That it doesn't matter whether we are worthy,
right,
or whether we've done enough or anything like that.
Exactly.
He simply offers it to us because we need it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
And we agree there.
Yeah. And then obviously the second, I believe, is because we have confidence in him that he has gone through everything that we've gone through.
Right.
And
so he actually cares.
He cares
about what we're dealing with.
Right. Yeah, we don't have any question about that. And then also the fact that he not only went through it, but he came through it without sinning.
Right.
Like we've gone through it.
Yeah.
But we don't come through it unscathed.
No, we don't. And that's a comforting passage to me. I think that's why earlier he says, so let us hold on to this faith, because where else are we going to go?
Yeah.
What else do we have
right.
For us? That we may receive grace, we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in time of need. I love these two words in the Greek, because mercy means that we are guilty. We should have been, that's where the phrase that like our grandparents grew up with, throw yourself on the mercy of the court.
Right.
You're guilty. Everybody knows you're guilty. All the evidence says you're guilty.
Right.
So the only thing I've got going for me is mercy.
Yeah, have mercy on
right.
me.
And so they're gonna look beyond our guilt. To me is what it says.
Right.
And so that I'm throwing myself on the mercy of God through Jesus Christ every day.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what we do when we accept Him, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so give us a run around every day, walking around every day definition of grace that, say, I could use with my unchurched friend or somebody that doesn't have faith in Jesus.
So one that I've heard before, I certainly didn't make up, that I think works and that makes sense to me is the acronym God's riches at Christ's expense. And so in other words, we're receiving something from him that we shouldn't have.
Right.
I mean, definitely shouldn't.
Oh,
There's nothing
yeah.
that we've done to enable us to be able to receive anything.
Well, yeah, and so to me, I think about it in these terms: the innocent for the guilty, and not only does God allow His innocent Son to pay for the guilty, but Jesus Himself offers Himself as an innocent sacrifice
Sure.
for the guilty.
Right.
And grace is, to me, I know that an acronym, and I like the idea that we don't have any defense.
Right.
We don't have anything to say.
Sure.
And He knows it.
Right. And it's
And
not
still comes to bat for
it's
us.
not God's riches because we've done something,
Right.
or it's God's riches at Christ's expense for that sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about something years ago when I was a little boy, and the short version of the story, a woman came into our store and returned an item that she had obviously shoplifted, and she asked for a refund, and my dad asked her, so how much did you pay for it? She said, I think it was $20, which, 1972, 73,
that's a lot more.
That's a lot more.
Significant.
Yeah, and he reached in. I knew she had shoplifted it.
Right.
All the evidence was there and everything, and I was trying to tell him, and he was putting me off. And when it was all said and done, and she had gotten the reward that she was seeking, even though she didn't deserve it.
Right.
I said, Daddy, she stole it. And he goes, I know. And I said, well, why didn't you say something? And he said, because she needed it more than I did. And that to me is a kind of a picture of God's grace. Satan's sitting there going, hey, he's guilty. George is guilty. George is guilty. And God's going, I know, but he needs it more than I do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I I just love that.
So one of the things that we talked about last time that we were going to get into was, there are certain people that don't understand the concept that Jesus was fully man
Right.
and fully human at the same time. Like,
Right.
how could that be? Or,
Yeah, because it's kind of like an unfair advantage, some people think.
Yeah. So how can you talk to that a little bit? Speak about.
Well, here's the thing. God, of course, can do whatever He wants. But see, to me, a lot of people, it creates a conundrum. For me, it gives me hope. It gives me faith because Jesus came here knowing who He was, and He put that aside in order to redeem us and allow us a way home. And so, He was fully God. But as God, He didn't see that as something to be held on to.
Right.
He emptied Himself for our sake, and that's, to me, speaks volumes of the majesty and the magnitude of His love. Because He knew exactly what He was doing.
Sure.
Sometimes, I remember a friend of ours that I knew was a fireman. He rescued somebody in a very tragic situation and rescued their lives. And somebody said, "Oh man, how did you get up the courage?" And he goes, "I didn't get up any courage." He goes, "I got there and stuff was going on so fast. I just jumped in and kind of followed my training, and it just happened that way." He goes, "If I had thought about it,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it.
Wouldn't have done, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have been afraid to do it."
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I know a lot of people understand that, and here's what I want you to understand about Jesus is Jesus knew the cross was coming. He came anyway.
Yeah.
He knew that as soon as he entered that manger, that his journey from there was to the cross of Calvary.
Yeah, he knew what was on the horizon, so to speak, right?
And he made it, fully God, fully man. I don't have a problem with it. I know some people do, but I think if you look at it in Scripture, you'll see that what it means is that the sacrifice for our eternal lives is so great that we can't even wrap our minds around.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for being here one more time.
Yeah, that's all the time we have, and so we will see you soon. I'm George.
I'm Rex.
And we love you guys.
Yep. See you next time.